Start broadcast. Hello everyone. Welcome to my Periscope. This is my first Periscope ever. I have recently joined a couple of scopers and have found that this is a great app and want to start sharing my knowledge and wisdom with you all. So today I'm going to be talking about sexuality and what is that? I figured since we are new to each other, I would tell you a little bit about myself, what I do, and then share with you what is my perspective on what sexuality is. And feel free to comment, loving the hearts, share things as you can, invite your followers as you please. So thank you, Robin. Hi, Robin. Great to see you on here. So I am Viennese. Viennese like Viennese. If you can't pronounce that, call me D. And for me, I started 3 years ago my business called Sexuality Power. And since I started my business, it's really focused on empowering women and couples and girls and pretty much humanity around their sexuality. We are sexual beings. We cannot be disconnected from the fact that we are sexual beings. Yet so much of our time is spent disconnected from it. We're not in tune with who we are. We're not expressing ourselves as sexual beings. Amen, Betty. Thank you for joining. And it's a huge detriment to our existence when that happens, because we're really not being authentic with who we are in our nature, right? So it's similar to, part of being a human is having a body, right? Well, part of having a body is being sexual. And often, we confuse what sexuality is with sex, right? So one of the things I said, let's talk about the Unspoken, is the title of this series. And I'm going to continue to do a series on sexuality every day. So stay tuned every day at this time at about 11 o'clock, 10:45, 11. I will post, and I will definitely look for your comments. And thank you, Betty. I will block. This is a space for you guys to ask questions. If you have a question about your own sexuality or about sexuality as a topic, feel free to throw them in there. But really knowing and owning who we are as sexual beings, that our body is a sexual body, that it is intrinsic to who we are, and you cannot separate from that. And there's various aspects. Sex is an act. It's an act that you engage your sexuality with. It's not what you are, and it's not the purpose of your sexuality either. Your sexuality is how you interact with the world. Your body is your vehicle to expressing yourself and expressing your sexuality. So, the way that you see a different body is on some level because of your sexuality, right? Because there's your sensuality, you have your sexual identity, your sexual expression, your sexual preferences, and those may vary, right? You may identify as queer and be in a heterosexual relationship and also be into BDSM. And all of those things are various levels of your sexuality. There's also out there, sexualization, right? How society influences how we see ourselves, each other, sexuality as a whole. Those are just some of the elements of sexuality that I'll be going into on more Periscopes as we continue to grow together and learn together. So I actually want to open it up. Do we have any questions? I see 114 viewers. Thank you so much for coming on and joining me on this evening. I did study this in college. I have about 10 years of studying around sexuality, relationship science, social work, human development. So all of that brings me, and spirituality, right? I don't disconnect my spirituality from my sexuality. And that's one of the topics that I'm going to bring in here that some people might be uncomfortable with. Some people might be like, sexuality and spirituality have nothing to do with one another. And I'm actually going to challenge you all to look at it differently and to be open-minded to a new perspective. Because I would actually say that there are no two other things that are more intrinsically connected than our sexuality and our spirituality. Okay. So how many bodies you got? I have one body. Thank you. Thank you for the comments. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up and, you know, restate what I said. Sexuality is who we are. It is part of being human. We cannot separate from our sexuality. That's not possible. And it is also part of, you know, our self-expression. It is part of how we interact with the world. And our body is simply the vehicle, right? We're spiritual beings having a human experience as sexual beings, right? Being human is being sexual. And, you know, that's just how we are. So we can sit there and try to fight it and try to think of different ways to embody this world, but there isn't, right? So my mission here is to help people who want to connect more deeply with their sexuality do that. Connect with their spirituality and their sexuality together. You know, this is a space where people can talk, ask questions. I'm happy to answer any questions about, you know, anatomy, physiology, how the body works, all that stuff. Those are things, size does not matter. You know, it might for some women, it might not, you know, it might for some men, it might not for others. So that's definitely something that it's a good question. A lot of people have that question. And part of the reason why people have that question and why that insecurity exists is because people are taught through media that size matters, when really it doesn't. Women squirt, it's a natural reaction. It's part of orgasm. Not every woman can squirt, but it's definitely a natural reaction. My qualifications, I've studied sexuality for over 10 years at various levels, from relationship science to actual human sexuality to human development, psychology, social work, all of that. So, okay, I'm definitely gonna have to maybe block some people, but that's all good. This is my first broadcast, and I'm grateful to have you all join me. Any questions before I wrap up? How much masturbation is too much masturbation? That's actually a really good question, and I'm gonna honor that question because I've gotten that a lot. And too much masturbation is when you feel like it's no longer a healthy practice, right? When it becomes detrimental to your basic functioning in your day-to-day life. That is when it becomes detrimental. And that is when it's no longer healthy, right? If you feel completely fulfilled in your life and you can masturbate 3 times a day or 6 times a day, and that is just part of your routine and it feels natural and pleasurable and satisfying, then go for it, right? It's really when it disturbs your life, when it becomes a problem. Am I a feminist? Hell yeah, I'm a feminist. I believe in women having equal rights, equal power, equal say, equal pay, and that is definitely something that I believe in. Heart it up. Thank you, Betty. I didn't quite catch the comment about virginities. It's one of those controversial topics. It's really based on people's values, right? So we all come into this world with different values, and judgments come from that, right? If you have a specific value, you might judge someone with the opposite value. However, you know, there's nothing that says one is right and one is not. You know, selling your virginity can be an empowering act. It can also be something that's very disempowering. So I think it's really up to that person. I cannot say it's right or wrong. Any other last minute questions? I am about to wrap up. But thank you for all the hearts. Thank you for viewing, and stay tuned tomorrow at this same time. I will be talking again. Love you all unconditionally.